From Hughes being on an insane 7-fight win streak to Kambosos Jr.'s devastating slump, their lightweight bout is sure to be one to watch. Let's look at all the reasons Hughes is set to demolish Kambosos Jr. But first, I need some details on the fight. Hughes versus Kambosos Jr. has been floating around in the rumor mill for a while now. For both fighters, this is their chance to clinch the title shot, giving them a chance to face the vicious Gustav Limos. A lot is riding on this fight. Both boxers are currently desperate to prove their place in the fighting world by clinching that coveted lightweight title. After months of speculation, the fight has officially been confirmed by relevant officials. Much to the excitement of boxing fans all over the world, the former undisputed lightweight champion, Kambosos Jr., is set to face Hughes. Details on the fight, such as the venue and exact date, are pretty scarce, but it's been confirmed that the bout is likely to take place in May or June, and it's set to feature in Kambosos Jr.'s home country of Australia. On paper, the fight seems like it's going to be pretty evenly matched, given that both fighters have proven themselves time and time again over the years. However, if speculation is anything to go by, people are predicting a tough time for George, which is unsurprising, given the slump that he seems to have caught himself in.
Oh man, I can't get the smile off my face. Like I said, it hasn't sunk in yet, but I dug deep and I won a lot of them rounds.
Especially coming off his 2 straight losses to Haney. It's no secret that the Australian is a pretty accomplished boxer. After all, he's held the lightweight championship title in his hands before, making it impossible to fully count him out of any kind of fight. However, recently, the former champion's fortunes seem to have turned, given that he came out of 2022 with 2 straight losses, both of them at the hands of Devin Haney. The second loss to Haney was a particularly devastating one, with George being essentially bullied for the majority of the fight, raining continuous blows on a visibly increasingly erratic and frustrated Kambosos Jr., essentially rearranging his face and taking the unanimous victory over him. The first bout wasn't much better for Kambosos, and was the start of the first losing streak the Australian fighter has ever experienced. This result has turned some fans away from George, stating that the dude's straight up gotten too old to play in the ring with the big boys, and might as well retire while he's ahead. Pretty harsh words for any fighter to hear, so it's no wonder Kambosos Jr. is expected to buckle under the pressure, given that he has so much to prove and everything to lose. Kambosos Jr. is fully aware of how much pressure he's facing coming into this fight, not just because of his losing streak or because of how much he has to prove, but also because the fight is set to be in his home country of Australia. Fighting on your home turf comes with an insane expectation for even the best fighters. On one hand, having your people cheering for you in packed stadiums is exhilarating, but on the other hand, it means that they expect for you to deliver the exact kind of performance they came to see, demanding nothing less than total victory from their preferred champion. For comparison's sake, imagine Conor McGregor losing a fight in Ireland in front of his home crowd. You'd never be able to live down the shame. Of course, that's not the only reason George has to feel nervous about the upcoming fight. Like I said, there's already been a steadily growing group of doubters and naysayers who believe that the fighter has gone past his prime and is an old dog playing in a young man's game. A loss against Hughes would essentially be proving them right, and might be the last chance he has at a title shot before he inevitably fades into the background of the boxing world. As if that wasn't enough, there's also the pressure of knowing that beating Max is just the first step, and that he could very likely be knocked out cold in a possible title fight against Limos. With everything riding on him, it's no surprise that people believe he'll buckle under pressure during the fight, especially given just how much of a hot streak his opponent has been on. Yep, Maxi Hughes has demolished the last 7 fighters he's gone up against. He's risen to be one of the new faces of the boxing world, flattening opponent after opponent.
We're always there from my side. You know, there's just maybe a few things done it past, and good mate, yeah. Obviously elated I've won. close fight. Obviously,
Just as soon as they spring up against him, the British boxer, who initially began his sports career as a rugby hopeful, is coming off a 7-fight win streak. So it's no surprise that he's feeling pretty confident in his chances versus Kambosos Jr. In fact, he thinks it'll be a pretty simple matter to clinch the win over his opponent. That 7-fight tear has got to be the source of his confidence, especially coming off his win against Kid Galahad, where he proved that, in striking and technique, he is really second to absolutely nobody. The advantages of a winning streak also can't be denied. It shows that Maxi really is in the best shape of his life. If the man can recognize how much pressure his opponent is under, he might be able to capitalize on it in brutal fashion. And why wouldn't he, given how badly he wants a title shot? Once that elusive belt is within his reach, he'll stop at nothing to acquire it. Of course, we can give the benefit of the doubt to his opponent and say that's easier said than done. I've been talking a lot about the mountain of pressure Kambosos is dealing with for this fight, but some believe that the criticisms have been exaggerated and biased. Let's take his losing streak for example. George got his only 2 losses at the hands of Haney, who himself is known as one of the best fighters in the ring right now. There's a tendency to put fighters down after losses, but it's also important to see the caliber of fighters they lost to, and there's no doubt that Haney is the cream of the crop when it comes to putting it up in the ring. Besides that, Kambosos Jr. himself has expressed a lot of excitement going into the fight. In an interview recently, he talked about his emotions, stating that all he was focused on now was getting that coveted second belt, something that every fighter works for their entire life. In his words, "I'm a warrior. I love to fight, and I love to have that mentality." Those definitely don't sound like the words of someone who's ready to lay down and crack under pressure, right? And just maybe he'll get the exact kind of motivation he needs when fighting in front of his home crowd. That being said, what do the fans think will happen? Well, the majority see it as an easy win for Hughes. Looking at social media after fight announcements is one of the best indicators for what the odds are on any given fight, and this particular bout is no exception, with the favor of the crowd seemingly weighing heavy in Hughes' favor. Many seem to believe that the conclusion to the fight is foregone and are sure that the pressure is most definitely going to get to Kambosos Jr., leading to his eventual defeat. Going through various fight predictions, it looks like most people think that both fighters will end up going the distance, but that Maxi will dominate George when it comes to points, pointing out his constantly improving technique and striking capability. This seems like pretty solid analysis, especially given how wonky George looked in his previous 2 fights, where he was clearly overcome by frustration, leading to sloppy foot play and handwork. All in all, it looks like the odds are very much stacked against George Kambosos Jr. But hey, the beauty of combat sports is that nothing is set in stone, and anything can happen at any given time. Well, folks, that's all the news I have about the upcoming Hughes versus Kambosos Jr. bout.